Hey everybody, Jeremy here. So today I want to introduce you to the Casabrews 3700 Pro coffee maker. And this coffee maker allows us to make 3 different types of drinks. We can make espressos, we can make cappuccinos, and we can make lattes all with the press of a button. And I'm going to be making all 3 of those drinks for you here today. But before we get into that, I want to show you a little bit more about this coffee maker, go over some of the accessories and some of the general functions so that you'll know exactly how it works. Now first, let's take a look at this front panel here. And you see it is very simply laid out, so anyone can understand how to operate it. We've got ourselves 4 push buttons right here, and 3 of them corresponds to the different types of drinks that we can make. The first one here being the power on off button. And as I turn it on there, you'll see that it's illuminated with some very pretty blue LEDs in the back. And then the first function is going to be for espresso. The second one is going to be for cappuccino. And the one to the far right is for lattes. You see that those blue lights are starting to pulse right now. And that just lets us know that the machine is warming up, which is why I have my glass resting on top so that it can also warm up along with the machine, save you a little bit of time. So let's swing over here to the left side of the machine where we will see our very first really important accessory, and that is the milk reservoir, which is essential for making the cappuccinos and the lattes. This reservoir holds up to 700 milliliters of milk, and this top comes right off. You can fill it up with milk and safely put it in your refrigerator just like this to keep the milk fresh. And attaching it to the machine could not be easier. All we have to do is line up this black attachment here with the opening on the side of the machine and just gently push it in. On the left side of the machine, you'll also notice 2 icons. There's an unlocked icon and then there's a locked icon and a switch in the middle. So when it's in the unlocked position, you'll notice that these blue LEDs are not illuminated under cappuccino and latte. But the moment we flip this switch to the lock position, they illuminate and they start to pulse, letting us know that it is getting ready. Now, as that gets ready, we can take a look at the water reservoir on the back of the machine. It can hold 1.3 liters of water, and it just slides nice and easy and smooth into the back of the machine. And when you want to refill it with water, you can lift up this flap, it opens up, and you can just pour water right inside. And it also has a max fill line, so you won't have to worry about overfilling it on accident. Now, the essential accessories that you need to make your espressos, cappuccinos, or lattes. First, we're going to get this filter holder, nice solid metal filter holder. And along with that, we're going to get 2 different size filters. So this is the single filter, which is best for single shots of espresso. And then we also get the double filter. In case you need a little extra kick, you can have a double shot of espresso with this double filter. We also have a spare milk tube. Now there's already one installed inside of the milk tank, but if you need another one, there's one inside of the box for you. You also get the all-important tamper that we use in conjunction with the filters and the filter holder in order to get those coffee grounds nice and firm and smooth all the way across. And last but certainly not least, the always handy coffee ground scoop. Now with a machine like this, you have the option of either getting fresh coffee beans and grinding them yourself, or if you don't want to do that, you can get your favorite coffee grounds from any grocery store. But no matter which way you choose to go, it's always recommended that you use either a dark roast or an espresso roast so that you can get the most flavor possible from your coffee. All right, so now it is time to brew our first cup. I'm going to make a cappuccino. Here's how we're going to do it. It's extremely simple. I'm going to take the single coffee filter here and pop that into the holder. And then I'm going to take this coffee ground spoon and I'm going to fill this filter up, and there is also a max fill line on this as well, so you don't have to worry about using too much or too little. And once you're done with that, you take the tamper and you give it a little bit of pressure on the coffee grounds. Not too much, just a little bit, just enough to sort of flatten it down. And take a look at that fill line, that max fill line. Make sure that you are underneath the max fill line. And at this point, we're going to swing around to the front of the machine and we are going to install the filter holder. So you start at the left of the machine. Let me move this cup out of the way. You can start at the left of the machine, and then you give it a twist to the right, hold on to it, and it really firmly locks into place, just like that. Now we're going to use our cup. Now, ideally for this machine, you're going to want to use a cup that is more short and wide as opposed to tall and skinny. But if you have a glass like this that's somewhere in the middle, here's a quick tip for you. Move this knob right here to make the milk reservoir wand extend a little bit, and then you can slide your cup right underneath it. And then you can just simply use this again to angle the tube so that the milk can go nice and safely into the glass. So that's it, folks. That's how easy it is to work this machine. At this point, all we have to do is push a button. But just so you know, if you want to have a small cup of cappuccino, you just have to push this button once. If you want a large cappuccino, you press it twice. Same thing with the latte. For a small, 1 press. For a large, 2 presses. And with the espresso, press it once for a single shot, press it twice for a double shot. But we're just going to go for the single cappuccino. Press 1 button, and away we go. Now first, the machine is going to put the milk inside of the cup, but it's not just dispensing milk, it's also frothing it at the same time. And it is pre-selected an amount of milk that it deems appropriate, but you have the option to customize that if it's too much or too little for you. After that's done, it's going to start making the espresso. Now you may notice the little gauge in the middle. We're going to want that gauge to go up to that gray zone, the espresso zone, and that's going to let us know that we got a really nice pool of espresso there. If it's too far to the left or too far to the right, it can negatively affect the quality of that espresso. But it looks like we got it right inside of that zone. And that's it. Your cappuccino is ready. Take a look at that. We got our frothy milk on top, and we have our espresso getting a nice brown color right there in the middle to the bottom. And at this point, you can take a sip and enjoy that nice warm brew. Or since this is your coffee, you can do whatever you want. You can choose to jazz it up a little bit. Maybe you want to add like a little bit of caramel sauce into the mix. Just add a little bit of sweetness. You can totally do that. It sits right there on top of that frothed milk. Give it another sip. And you got yourself a little bit of sweetness in there as well. Get yourself a spoon and stir it up. It is really, really good. Something else that's really, really good to do is to get into the habit of making sure that this milk dispensing wand is clean when you want to put the machine up. You do not want to have old, rotten, spoiled milk messing up your next cup of coffee. So I'm going to show you how easy it is for this to self-clean. So get yourself a glass or a cup or a mug, put it right here underneath the filter, and then you can use the little knob here in order to make the wand go directly towards the cup. Now you want to press and hold the latte button for 3 seconds. And it's going to start shooting out that excess milk that's inside of the tube. And at the same time, it's going to shoot some really hot water through the tube to make sure it's completely clean. And just like that, the cleaning is done. So here is a small glass filled with excess water from the milk tube, as well as really hot water from the water tank in the back. So if you want to put the machine away and store it, make sure that you do that first so that when you come back to it, it can be nice and clean. Now I understand that everyone has a different preference for coffee. So if you don't want your espresso to be poured over frothed milk and you prefer for the milk to go over the espresso instead, don't worry, this machine lets you do that as well. And it's really simple to do. All you have to do is make your espresso first And then when you're done, you can press and hold the cappuccino button for 3 seconds. That's going to cause the milk dispenser to start putting that frothed milk into your glass for as long as you need it to. And when you're done, you press the cappuccino button again and it automatically stops. And it'll remember your preference for next time, so you don't have to worry about doing that yourself. Now let's make a latte, and it's just as simple as a cappuccino. All we gotta do is press one button. First, we need to fill this single filter with coffee grounds. Give this a firm, but not too firm, tampering down. And by the way, if you get a little coffee grounds along the edges, that's not a problem. All you have to do is just use your finger and dust them off. Now we take this back to, you guessed it, the front of the machine. Let's get our cup about ready. Put this to the left, give it a nice firm twist. And this is the coffee mug I told you about. It's short and it's wide and it fits perfectly right underneath the filter holder. Make sure that milk dispensing tube is right there, hovering into the cup, and latte. So once again, the milk is going to go first. Make sure that you have a larger cup when you want to make a latte, even if you're making a small latte, because it's going to use more milk than a cappuccino. And once it's done putting the milk inside of the cup, it is going to start brewing the espresso. And remember, we want it to get into that sweet zone, that gray sweet zone right there on the gauge, and that'll help us to get the best cup possible. And just like that, we are done. And we've got a nice, really tall mug of latte right here. Give this a sip. There's a lot more milk in this. It's nice and frothy at the top, and this would definitely give you a milk froth mustache if you take a couple of sips. But that's how simple it is to make yourself a nice cappuccino, espresso, or latte right here in the comfort of your own home without having to go out and spend a whole lot of money inside of a coffee shop. This machine makes it incredibly easy to do all those things yourself and to be able to customize the amount of espresso that you get, to customize the amount of milk that you get in your cappuccinos and in your lattes. And it's just really convenient to have on your countertop. And it doesn't take up a whole lot of space either. So if you're in the market for a simple and effective 3-in-1 coffee machine, look no further than the Casabrews 3700 Pro. It'll save you money in the long run and make your life a lot easier.